Day 2 and everybody showed up. That's amazing. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So everybody's here. We have a beautiful crowd here. I think we have like 22 or 24, right? Something like that. I haven't added them up yet. Okay, so I'd like to call this today, Imagine All the People. And I'm going to tell you why. But do you know where that came from, Imagine All the People? What song? John Lennon. Now, John Lennon was not murdered just out of random. Just understand that. His voice was recognized and loved by everyone around the world, except those people that didn't want the people to sing Imagine All the People. Because if all the people loved each other, they'd have to love themselves first and foremost. And he was trying to teach unconditional love. Did you know that? He had unconditional love for himself. Yoko Ono had it for herself. And they wanted to teach the world unconditional love so that we could imagine all the people being in love. You can't have all the people in love unless the people are in love with themselves. You can't give what you're not. Right? And this morning, we were talking here, and somebody said, well, why can't I do da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And I said, cut yourself a break. At one time, probably millions and millions of years ago, because history has all been rewritten, everything you believe is not true about history. Everything. But go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. That's okay, because I love you. But the reality is, I said, look it. I said to her, put your hand up. I said, you're a moron, didn't I? Who was it? Right? I said, you're a moron, didn't I? And I said, and I'm a moron too. And understand something. Yesterday I said that a Jaguar runs on what? 12 cylinders. If it ran on only 2 cylinders, it wouldn't run very well, would it? It might run, but not very well. We only run on 2 cylinders now because we were genetically modified. And I don't care if people believe in me or not, but guess what? Find me a better answer. Find me a better answer, okay? And then I will go, okay, I'll take that on. And I said to her, don't worry though, you're a moron and I'm a moron, and we've got moronic beliefs. They had to get rid of the other 10 strands of DNA to have us buy into poisoning ourselves and our family, to go and join a war and kill people we don't know, to say, I'm doing my job, to say, get your goddamn mask on. So your brother went to a doctor, and his testicles had one testicle had stage 4 inflammation. Do you know what? You can get kicked in the testicles. And if you were to go to the doctor right after, if you got the wrong doctor, he would say you had cancer. Does anybody know how they measure cancer, stage 4 inflammation? By inflammation. The greater the inflammation, the higher the stages go. If I told you you had stage 4 inflammation instead of testicular cancer, you might be able to believe and wrap around your head that maybe you could turn it around, right? When I say cancer, what do you think right away? Go. What? No. Death sentence. Nobody said sickness. Everyone says when you have cancer, it's a death sentence. Well, it's a death sentence if you want to believe it. If you're willing to change your personality, you'll change your reality. And what if the personality of the doctor, because his belief systems believe if you have this much inflammation, you've got cancer, it's going to spread through your body. He loves you. Maybe he doesn't love you, but he cares for you. But what if his information is wrong? So your brother had no stage 4 inflammation anywhere in the body except for one testicle. So we went to drama trauma and we cut the testicle out. So do you know how much terror the other testicle went into? He better be working on that other testicle. Because guess what? When you cut into the body, everything around that area goes into trauma. Every cell in your body has a spine, a brain, a liver, a kidney, has everything that the whole body has. Did you know that? Did you know it has emotion? Did you know that you can actually say, okay, I'm going to now stab you in the knee. I'm going to cut your knee open, and those cells right away, they start to create a thickening coat around them. Okay? To what? Protect them against the adrenaline and all of the other chemicals that are going to come in because it's terrorized. So then it creates this thickness around it. The actual cell wall becomes thicker. So now we're not getting the nutrients in, now we're not getting the oxygen in, and now we're stagnating, and we're having stagnation within the cell, which means we're going to have infection and pretty soon inflammation and calcification. Because in every cell, it's called mitochondria. Mitochondria create ATP. Now, there is not one disease in the body where the mitochondria and the cells have not been damaged. Most of the damage is calcification. Calcium's pulled from the bones and the bloodstream to actually go different areas so that there's not a stage 4 inflammation. Do we know what cancer is? Do you know what cancer is? What is cancer? What's the definition? Okay, good. And how do we get it? How do we get cancer? What? Well, okay, how do we get cancer? Well, stress is the main one. Emotional, okay? If you can't address it, you will suppress it. So there's a sexual dysfunction with your brother that he can't process. Because you can't, even if he has a lousy diet, does that mean that every guy who has a lousy diet is going to have testicular cancer? And guess what? Just to put a kibosh on this, because I know where you're going, it's genetic. There are no genetic cancers. That was already proven with the Genome Project, where they spent millions and millions of taxpayers' money to find out that it was epigenetic. Isn't that something? You didn't get to hear about it because they didn't want you to. So the reality is that if I'm right and the cell wall gets thicker, the oxygen and the nutrition can't come in, the inside of the cell becomes a swamp, right? What came first, the mosquito or the swamp? So now we know that a swamp doesn't have a lot of oxygen or circulation, right? So cancer is actually being deprived of oxygen by 35%, the cell, for more than 3 days. There, you got it. Simple as that. Now, what if we could get the oxygen back in there? Right? What if we were to go and put him on the advanced water fast right away? Right? What if he were to do rectal infusions right away, or 250 milligram CBD bullets in his rectum? What if we were to go in and do really light non-surgical, all in the groin area, all around, above and below the pubic bone? What if we were to do that? What if we were to get him to buy into doing the ultimate coffee enema twice a day? What if he would have came and did the Cellsonic on either side of the groin? Do you want to know something? We could do the Cellsonic on either side of the groin, and we do it once, and he can go and then go get tested again, and now it's stage 1 or stage 0. How's that? That's what the Cellsonic can do. Shut down inflammation in one treatment. And that's not me saying we cure anything, because we can't cure. The only thing that is a cure is a personality change, right? On an emotional, physical, psychological level. That's it, because the psychological rules the biological. Now, to actually heal oneself and stay healed, you would have to unlock something. What would that be? Your imagination. So what is the main thing they try to destroy as soon as you go to school? Your imagination. Okay? All right? Stop daydreaming. Stop daydreaming. I wish I was younger and I knew what I knew. I'd say, piss off. And I don't care. Kick me out of school. The reality is this. Teachers are there, and teachers are programmed to destroy your imagination. You're going to say, that's not true. My teacher, she was an art teacher, or he was a phys ed teacher. They love that. Yeah, I'm not saying everyone. You know what? There's always a diamond in the coal, isn't there? Most of it's coal, though. Tell me that when you got out of school, you had an imagination left. You didn't even know what you were going to do. You didn't even know what you were. You didn't know how to love yourself. You didn't know how to love another. You didn't know how to feed yourself. You didn't know how to feed another. And meanwhile, you were raised by two adults that didn't know it either. So unless you're going to change your personality, you never change reality. Unless you're going to unleash and unchain the child within, okay, and you're going to keep the child jailed. Does anybody know or realize how much I goof around? I talk about the most intense, I have the most intense emotional course, I think, on the planet. And I know I do. I've been told so many times by psychologists, okay, psychiatrists, they go, wow, this just blows everything away. You can believe it or not believe it. People come to my course and they've been going to a psychologist, psychiatrist, or getting therapy for 10 and 20 years, and it takes me 2 hours to take them further. Do you understand? The whole thing's BS. If you went to a government accredited school, just know that you've lost your imagination, you've lost your creation, okay? All right? And you've been programmed. And that's everything in this world. I'm not poo-pooing on the world. I love it. I love being here with you. I love knowing that I'm alive. But guess what? I'm also in the present moment. And I also know that I have to protect myself against every one of you. I know I have to protect myself against my family. And that doesn't mean protection, aggression. That means protection, unconditional love for myself first and foremost, and unconditional love for you. No matter if you like me, don't like me, you say, I think you're da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How do I protect myself? You're probably right. I probably am da-da-da-da-da. Daryl, I bet you ripped people off. I probably did. I don't now, but I probably did. Okay? I bet you stole. Yes, I did. I used to steal when I was younger. I don't now. So big deal. And even when I did that, okay, I felt like a sinner, but now I know that was BS too. I was in survival mode. Do you know why your brother lost his testicle? He was in survival mode. Because your family's not awake. Oh, there's a punch, eh? Because your family's not awake. But my family is awake. Yes, they are, compared to everyone who's asleep. This planet, we are all moronic. God loves us anyways, and God does love us. But guess what? You don't need the other 10 strands of DNA if you unconditionally love yourself. I'm not going to tell you that. That's the deal. Don't do it. I've been trying to drive that into Kathy now since she first came to the first course. I still struggle with it. Because Kathy likes to suffer for everyone and let everybody know she's suffering. Because that's how she gets her love. And she's having the biggest struggle of her life. And she is not going to become a whole life coach, certified real whole life coach, unless she learns how to love herself and give this stuff up. I mean, if you go and you squint like this, you can actually see her dragging her cross. Do you understand? Understand, it's our belief systems that cause everything. It's our belief systems that create everything. Let's play a game. We see everything in an image first. You see everything in an image before you have a thought. Did you know that? Your brain creates every thought. But the part of your brain that creates every thought is actually your subconscious. So whatever prominent, dominant beliefs you have, whether you want to believe this or not, you want me to play the game when we're done here? You're toast. You might make it. You're going to make it. I can tell you right now, with the personalities that you have, what you're going to find, where you're going. That's not rocket science. That's not me being a psychic. Your personality creates your reality. Didn't you notice everybody has a different personality? And do you also know that none of these people picked that personality? It was shoved down their throat. Your personality was shoved down your throat. But at least you know you're connected to nature, so you've got a beautiful spirit. But do you actually think you're awake? If you think you're awake and your family's awake, wow, we're in trouble. Because when you're awake, okay, all right, you will levitate like Jesus Christ did. A lot of the other enlightened people before us. And that's how they blew off this planet. You can believe it or not believe it. Or you can buy into these low vibrational stories that, and please, anybody that's on here right now, please don't lose your shit. Or you can believe that Jesus died for my sins because I'm that bad. How do you like that? How would you like to walk around and feel guilty for something you did yesterday or 10 years ago? There's the cancers. The C in cancer stands for corruption, contamination, and conflict. It all happens right here. So if I'm right, and every image creates a thought, what is the image you have of me right now? What's the image you have of yourself? What's the image you have of the world? And I can go around here and I can tell everybody, if you want, we'll play that game when we're done, and I'll tell you the image that you have of this world, and you have of me, and you have of yourself. Image is everything. So guess what? What actually creates the image? Do you know? And when I say this, I am not picking on her. You're the awake one. You're the awake one. Awakened one. Understand something. People think they're awake and they're still asleep. You're asleep until you know that you were created by God Almighty, and that which you call God or think it is, the creator, the source, whatever, has never had anything except beyond unconditional love for you, rooting for you. Oh, look at little Jimmy under the blanket. He just played with himself. Oh, he's going to go blind, and he's cursed for life. Are we like out of our skulls? This is what we're taught. Do you want me to keep going with BS like that? No. Nobody wants to hear it, but guess what? You're full of it. You're full of it. If you ever find pleasure in something and you're not hurting someone, then you find pleasure in it. It's not a sin. And sin just means missing the mark. Why don't you look it up? It's in the dictionary. Sin, missing the mark. So how many times have I sinned? All day long. And I will sin 10,000 times before I get it right. Don't you even dare come to me with that stuff anymore. If it means that I never teach another whole life coach course, I am not buying into that stuff. I am not trying to teach you anything except to love and care for yourself and let yourself off the hook. How does it feel to have a hook right into your heart? Or one into your brain? Or one into your testicle? And that's all based on emotional stuff. So imagination. So what causes you to imagine? Your perception. And guess what? Your filter is different from... Do you have any brothers and sisters? All your his filter is different. Because if you had the same filter, you would already have lost an ovary. Because what do you think an ovary is? It's a testicle. What do you think a testicle is? It's an ovary. They do different things, but they're pretty well the same. They're twins. Are you with me yet? Hang on. Buckle up. So now, perception creates the image. And your perception is decided on the filters you have. And the filters are created by the experiences that you experienced. Are we asleep? Nobody should even think about having a baby unless they've done like our pain-free pregnancy course. I'm telling you the truth. There's no course like this in the world. There's no course like this in the world. And every one of you who are taking this will be certified to teach this course. And there is no course like this. You could just teach this course forever. Every couple will want this course and needs this course. Because the whole schooling program and religion is based on creating a dysfunctional family. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. And I'm not saying all of religion and every religion. I'm not saying everyone when I say things. Do you understand? Hey, if what you're doing in the church you go to is just totally unconditionally loving you and letting you off the hook and letting you know that you are a beautiful spirit, oh my God, get the word out to everyone. Because community is what it's all about. Not guilt, not shame, not regret, not hell. Okay, let's keep going. So the image you have is created by your belief systems. So here we go. I have an image, and then I have a thought. So now, if somebody told me that I've got stage 4 inflammation, would I go to one person to decide that that's worthy of losing a testicle? Or would I go to at least 3? Would I? How many do you go to? So your family lives in fear. No, hold on. My family's awake. Understand something. We have to remove fear completely from our lives. I'm using you and I'm being really traumatic. Don't take it personal because we're trying to dig it up and turn it over and stir it around for everybody in here. Thank you very much. You know, they say that you can never get rid of fear completely, and that's another lie. False evidence appearing real. Has anybody ever seen me fearful? Shalu, you've been around long enough. Simran? Emily?
I saw you scared when I brought out the cooked food.
The cooked food. Well, that's only because the more I cook, the worse I look and the worse I feel. And I'm not on my game. And they want you to eat low vibrational food. I don't care if you made it with love. You can't eat cooked food. Shouldn't eat cooked food. Cooked food should only take up, in weight volume, 10% of your diet. In weight volume. And people are going, how do you survive?
I did it yesterday, and look, I'm still here.
Hey, yesterday I had the soup and the salad. I swear to you, that's all I had. I had a couple cashews last night. I had a juice at your house. And I drank a ton of humic and water and whatever else I do. You have to understand something. We are light energy beings. And everything that you eat, everything that you drink leaves the body. Everything. Your body does not make anything from the physical world. It only makes it from the invisible world, which is frequency and light. And people can't even wrap their head around that. I'm hungry. No, you're not. You're going dark. Which means basically you're bored. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. Most of the time you're not hungry, you need water. Water has hydrogen in it. Water feeds you. Water brings in information. Anyways, we're off track. That's your fault. Because you're the only one that I'm focusing on right now. Do you understand where we're going? I want to push you. I want to push you so hard that when you leave here, nobody can ever push you again. And you won't push back. You'll just go, yeah, you're right. You're right. Remember something, whether somebody gives you something that's wrapped in love or wrapped in anger or hate, they're trying to give you a gift. You don't have to take it. Just smile. During COVID, when the police and the bylaw people used to come to my door, the first thing I do when I open the door would yawn. Oh, what do you guys want? You think I'm kidding? Yeah, you were there. So anyways, image. So what images should you have today? What images would make your day? Based on unconditional love. You are never going to listen again to anyone that's that's hurting, because hurt people will hurt you, right? Your families hurt you when they're hurting. You've hurt them. If we could just stop that, wouldn't that be amazing? So image. So image creates thought. What if I always had the image of just, and see, the thing is guess what? Did you ever notice anybody that are very negative? Well, what do they focus on? They focus on everything wrong. Now, their subconscious is so powerful at protecting their negative belief systems, okay? They're toast. They're gone. Goodbye. Goodbye. The only thing that would help them is something like this. So right now, they say that 92% of the population is depressed. That's 8 out of what? 100 that aren't depressed. So where's everybody's focus? You can change depression just like that. And depression doesn't exist. It's anxiety that exists. And anxiety exists because of fear. And what if you feared nothing? And I'm not talking about jumping off a cliff and going, I'll be okay. Okay? Because anybody that unconditionally loves themselves will fear nothing, but also not do stupid things. And do we do stupid things when we don't love ourselves? Because we won't protect ourselves, will we? If I didn't love myself, I would do drugs. Okay, if you came along and said, hey, you want to do some drugs with me? If I didn't love myself, I'd do drugs with you, because I know that maybe there's a chance we could hook up. And I could maybe get some love from you on an emotional, physical level, and that will just get me through my day. What do you think? Got any drugs? No, I'm kidding. So, do you understand? Or you understand where I'm going? Look at the things that you've done for love. Look what the things you've done because you think you might lose that love from that person, even though that person wasn't giving you very good love. Desperation is not good when it comes to love. So now, image creates thought. So depending on the image will depend on how high the vibration, how much light is in that thought. Are you with me? So if you have a negative thought, you had a negative image, a negative thought. How many negative images do you have every day? How were you doing when your mother was in really big trouble and you weren't in the present moment, loving and caring for yourself, Shalou?
It was tough.
Is what?
It was tough.
It was what?
It was tough.
And then as soon as you pulled yourself back into the present moment and you let go of the sinner syndrome and you actually showed yourself some love, how were you doing?
I was great. It didn't matter.
Oh yeah, and when your mother was in trouble and you knew that she was going to leave this planet, and I'm only doing it with Shalou because this is part of Shalou's training. I wouldn't do that to you because everybody say, how cruel is he? I'm not cruel. Her mother wanted to leave. She wanted to leave for years to be with her husband. And guess what? And we talked a few times and I said, Shalou, if you can just love, honor, and respect yourself, you'll make it through this without, okay? Now you've got 5 sisters. I would be totally blown away if one of those sisters, okay, if one doesn't have heart disease and the other one has cancer within 1 to 2 years, because that's what happens in every family. Somebody gets heart disease because the heart is the recorder of love affairs, and another person will have cancer because of the anxiety and the fear, okay? And they will actually turn that on. If you don't believe me, why don't you go to the biggest study that was ever done in the world? And I have that, and I did a Masterclass, and it's called The Emotional Chemistry of Cancer, Disease, and Healing, and it's in the library. Did anybody watch that yet? 1, we're doing good. That's great. Okay, 1's better than none. Go watch it, and then we can discuss it, and then you can challenge me. Why do you think cancer comes back the 2nd time and the 3rd time? Because you reactivate it with the same drama, trauma story. Do you want to know something? I'm a little off track, but I'm not off track, but here we go. Talking to somebody, because I've been dealing with his wife. His wife was going to lose her bowel 4 years ago. She has her whole bowel. Okay? Their belief systems about what they believe about the world and the creator of everything are kind of a little bit mixed up. Okay? All right? But I let everybody can believe whatever they want, but it can put a chokehold on it, can't you? It can make you feel like you're a sinner, a failure, a loser. So I just work with them with their beliefs. I don't try to change their beliefs, but I try to turn the burner down for them. So anyways, the husband comes on. Guess what? What? You were right 3 years ago, okay? About that I had trauma in my life and that I wasn't dealing with it. Guess what, Daryl? I'm going to a certified PTSD counselor. And I went, wow, really? He goes, yeah. I call him every day, and we're going back into my childhood, and we're going through all my traumas. And I go, we'll call him Fred. You're insane. You're insane. None of that matters. Your parents and every adult that ever did anything for you did the best they could. The present moment, you're going to ruin the present moment here for the next year or two. He's a certified PTSD. No, he isn't. There's no such thing as PTSD. There's only such thing as shell shock. And every time that you retell the story, okay, you're creating shell shock and you're dumping the same amount of hormones and chemicals that destroyed you back then, now. So when you go to him, but guess what? Their religion is based on suffering. Suffering is the way to the Lord. I mean, he told me that. I'm not going to fight with him. Go for it. I said, let me know how it goes. But I really can't discuss this with you anymore because you know how I feel. And you want me to say, yes, good for you. And I don't think it's going to be good for you. And you can stay in touch with me. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I want everybody to keep their belief systems. I'm not trying to change them, but I will come into anybody's belief system and just test them. You can come to the course and you're going to have great belief systems, but we can all have greater. Every time I do the course, my belief systems get greater. They let me off the hook more. And guess what? Then people are saying, oh, if he gets off the hook totally, he's going to hurt people. How many have I heard here so far? None. I haven't heard anybody. Yeah, but guess what? It's 3:15, and guess what? You're going to look for someone to hurt you because you're all running programs. Why don't you calendar track yourself and see if I'm right? You'll look for a trauma moment. Would you say that the world is right now dumping the dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins? Or would you say that